Plenty of people know Quake games as the single-player experience games. The first game actually did pretty well on several platforms, including the second game, which also came out on some of the same platforms, in which also changed some of the first-person aspects to the game, but also managed to do well on that, as I may actually get around to doing Quake 2 sometime soon. But I do want to cover and let you guys know that there are I want to say three different versions of the game, and some of them actually play quite a lot differently, which I'll probably get to that in the future. But right now, let's talk about its multiplayer game, Quake 3. This game has nothing to do with the first two games, and it's all about mostly multiplayer, which the game actually has its own cult following, as the game has its own spiritual successor known as Quake Live, which I'll also be talking about in a little bit soon. This game has its own single-player campaign as you clear waves of different challenges as you face two other people or at least three other people. As originally this game is a four-player deathmatch game. As you go around in a free-for-all spree game as you go on to make sure you get a tons of eliminations as possible. This game also will receive an expansion pack known as Team Arena. Well, it's actually a standalone expansion pack, but still whatever. It's mainly the same game, but instead of free-for-all and everything like that, it's mostly about teamwork, and most of the gameplay is mainly the same, just the only difference is the teams and all of that. Mainly, the original game is 4 players, and this is actually one of the first few games that have the cross-platform compatibility. What I mean is that this game, originally when it came out on Dreamcast in 2000, this game would actually come out and say that you guys can play with certain PC players. That's right. This game actually lets you play with actual computer users, which meaning if you want to play against console users, you can do that. This game must have been ahead of its time, as plenty of games now later uses this functionality. What's amazing about the Dreamcast version is, yes, it's the same game as the PC version, and what's nice about it is that if you guys have a Dreamcast mouse and keyboard, you guys can actually play it like you own an actual computer. It's mainly some of these ports also were actually from the PC versions of some of these games on the Dreamcast. Some actually performed pretty well, and some of them may have failed. Also, the system at the time was also a great system to port arcade titles to the consoles, which is another huge thing for the system during this time. Many people always say it's ahead of its time as well. There is a PS2 version of this title, but mostly that version received negative reviews. It's not bad in gameplay terms from what I've heard, but the only problem is the game has long loading times, lack of online multiplayer, and lack of USB mouse and keyboard support. Unlike this game, Unreal Tournament, which also came out on PS2, received mouse and keyboard support, but lacked online since it never had online functionality during its time. I could be wrong, but this did come out in 2001 for that system, which I'm pretty sure about time it would have had online functionality, but I don't know when it ever came out. But it's whatever. This game will have multiple different weapons, as you guys will actually have a machine gun, shotgun, rocket launcher, grenade launcher, a lightning gun, and a plasma weapon. There's a melee weapon, but it's more of a assault weapon, which spins around, which I'm pretty sure it's better than the other melee weapon that was given to you in Unreal Tournament. But these maps for this game are extremely small, but it's also good as you can find players pretty easily. Some maps can be a little big, depends, but it's still a great game to play. And playing it on a controller for a Dreamcast, it may get some time to be used to, only because it didn't have the main buttons. But if you guys can somehow master them with the terrible sensitivity, well, there is sensitivity options. You guys can actually change it if you want to. But with the Dreamcast version, you can actually customize your own controls for your best experience. But it is pretty nice for the system to have such thing. And this game, like I said from the beginning, it has a cult following, as a dedicated fan base decided to bring the game back online. As normally there will be regularly at nights and whatever, Mostly the game will have online multiplayer. That's probably at nighttime, but you will need to modify. You will need some sort of accessories to modify the online experiences, like DreamPi. Which, if you guys don't know what DreamPi is, it's a thing for your Raspberry Pi, which you can actually go online. I'll leave a tutorial in the description below, so you guys can find out how to play online. But this will cost you money, as some of these items can be somewhat expensive. But again, if you guys have the right materials, you can get the game to work with online. Anyways, there's countless different challenges, tiers, and custom characters to play as. Even Doom Guy makes an appearance in this title, which is insane. If I'm not mistaken, this might be the only time that Doom and Quake has had its own crossover. But I could be wrong. But again, Doom Guy has been in different games, including Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, exclusively on PC. I should also mention there is actually a remastered version of this title for the Xbox 360 as an exclusive title, known as Quake Arena Arcade. The game has been recently added as backwards compatibility for Xbox One and Series X. Unfortunately, you may not find players, but I'm sure servers are still active. You gotta have at least some friends to play it. Same with Unreal Tournament 3. Which is such a shame, considering it's cool to see Quake and Unreal actually compete once again, this time on the Xbox market, which I do find to be cool. I should also mention that the arcade game is very cheap, as you guys can get it for $5. Not bad price, if I say so myself. The biggest differences between the remaster game and this one is that it has better graphics, and it also has new modes, which is challenges modes when it comes to the single player campaign. You're still playing the traditional campaign from the third game, but they've also threw in challenges and some assets from Team Arena. And it also has a larger player count than the original game itself. And it also has exclusive new maps which you guys can also play in. To be honest, this might be one of the most addicting multiplayer games you guys could ever play. I highly recommend, if you guys want to play a multiplayer for this game, I highly recommend you guys get Quake Live. Quake Live is a remaster of the original game. It kind of looks like Quake Arena Arcade, but this is just an online-only game. There's a ton of people still playing this game to this day, and I managed to jump into a few matches only to get my butt kicked. I'm pretty sure if you guys keep practicing in this game, you guys will be much better at it. But of course, I highly recommend you guys get the Dreamcast, PC, Xbox 360 versions of this game, which I'm pretty sure you guys will like it. But the cheapest one is pretty much the Xbox version, like I said before, as it does have exclusive maps. So guys, which arena-based shooter game do you guys prefer, Unreal Tournament or Quake 3? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.